Good evening, everyone, and welcome into the Forge Podcast, episode 15, brought to you by Shotgun Sports Network Alabama of the Shotgun Sports Network. My name is Ryan Messer, and we've got a lot to get into tonight. The Legion had their final match of the regular season this past weekend, as well as the Bulls, who started camp and had their exhibition game. We have a couple other news to talk about with the Bulls as well. As well as the Stallions, who released some information this past week as well. But before we get too far, I want to thank you guys for watching. And I know there's people that watch every single week and are dedicated, and we thank you guys for that. Whether it's on YouTube and Facebook, or even if you're listening to us on Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcast, Audible, or wherever you find your podcasts. We want to thank you guys for watching and listening. But we also want to know if you like what you hear or see. Shoot us a like, follow the page. If you know somebody that might want to hear commentary on Birmingham pro sports, shoot it over to them. Or if there's something else you want to see here, something more you want to see, whether it's more commentary than just news, or if you want to hear more interviews, whatever it may be, shoot us a comment, shoot us a direct message, let us know. We want to hear from you guys. We enjoy the feedback. But we also have to say thank you to Blue Spring Living Water, who has been supporting us all year long, keeping us hydrated, and they want to keep you guys hydrated too. So make sure you hit the link in the description to find out how you can get delivered right to your door, or find it at your local grocer. We know how the water is with the tap water. It's always best to get it filtered, or even in some cases you have to boil it before it's potable. So make sure you get water that's great, that's straight from the source at Blue Spring Living Water. Those guys have been keeping us, like I said, keeping us hydrated all year long. So, but with that, this is episode 15 of the Forge Podcast. We're going to start it off with the Birmingham Legion, who had their first home match versus the Las Vegas Lights this past Sunday. Las Vegas wound up winning the toss and took first possession, and the match started off very physical by Las Vegas Lights. And with that, because they apparently were voted to be last in the league for the in the initial rankings. But with that, they wound up fighting up, and with that, they wound up scoring in the 18th minute. The Legion had no choice but to reciprocate with the physicality, and wound up that was received by Vegas, but due to some very controversial officiating, that seemed like they're kind of one-sided on their calls and non-calls. It just kind of struggled there for Birmingham. But in the first half, Birmingham struggled to control the ball. They would get it, pretty close, try to maintain, get it down the field to their striking zone, but it was still, they still struggled to maintain and get shots toward the net. So, but coming out of halftime with Birmingham getting the ball, they wound up coming out hot with multiple shots on goal, but and back-to-back corner kicks. But however, they wound up kept turning and hitting the crossbar. So I don't know if there was a magnet on that crossbar, because it got hit by both teams on that south side goal there. But that momentum quickly halted when Vegas wound up scoring again in the 87th minute, and then they wound up scoring once more in stoppage time. But just a rough game for Birmingham overall. Every time they got momentum, they would just get stifled right there because either a penalty or if they got just the shots they were getting, they were just off target. I don't even think there was only a couple that the goaltender actually had to save, but because the rest of them seemed to be off target there. But as it stands right now, Birmingham is 12, 14, and 6. They are now on the outside looking in and tied for points with Loudoun, Pittsburgh, and North Carolina FC. But with the tiebreakers and all, they are currently on the outside looking in, like I said. The rest of the games are must wins, and really we need some help from some other teams to get back into playoff contention. I was really hoping that we could kind of twist and turn this team around, but it seemed like they, with the injuries they've been continuously having, I know Van Okel's injured, Dawson McCarthy's are injured, so I just hope, hopefully we can, but if we don't, it might wind up being best and try to come back next year and advance through. With that, we're going to switch on over to the Birmingham Bulls. The Bulls had started camp this past week, and it will continue through the rest of this week. The guys were very physical, even with it being in camp. As you can see right here, you can see they were hitting each other pretty hard into the boards, even for camp. So my thoughts were, if they're hitting their teammates this hard, they must be ready to hit the opposition. So seemed pretty decent in practice. But also, the Bulls hosted the premiere of their new documentary series at the Lyric Theater on Friday called Back to Birmingham. They rolled out the red carpet, and you can see the entire organization was there. And we actually got to see Alexander Shannara. He's one of the sponsors, so even he was there. So the show was amazing. The filmography, the cinematics, it'll have you on an entire emotional roller coaster. They mentioned that they have 3 episodes completed already for season 1, ready to go, and they are working on a season 2. So they are looking to sell it to a streaming service. They said they are in the process of that right now. So hopefully we can see that come out pretty soon. 11 Productions is the ones that are producing this, so they are doing a really good job with this. So but once we hear more information about it, we'll be sure to let you guys know of where it may be found once it is sold. The Bulls also hosted a preseason exhibition match against the Pensacola Ice Flyers on Saturday. The game started off very physical for an exhibition game, but you can tell these guys were ready to light somebody up other than themselves because they were hard hits, multiple fights in the first period. Throughout the entire game, though, the Bulls did strike first with a couple of goals by Drake Glover, but it was a little rough looking as far as some of the puck control and the passing, just the mechanics of the game. Of course, trying to build the chemistry there between some of the newer players coming in. So I'm sure that chemistry's just got to be built. But other than that, decent showing. Former Bull Matt Wisner received a nice warm welcome of heckles and boos with his new team throughout the game, with the exception of one spectator who just happens to be my sister. But in the second period, the Bulls wound up scoring again. This time it was Bond. And then in the third period, Carson Rose and Colton Olnick wound up both finding the back of the net. Austin Lotz was perfect throughout the night until the final minute of the game when the Ice Flyers spoiled the shutout there. But they also wound up having a shootout period, which the Bulls wound up winning as well. An overtime period, sorry, which the Bulls wound up winning. But they also did have a shootout period and a shootout situation, but that was eventually won by the Ice Flyers there. But it's hard to tell from an exhibition game because the final rosters are not even locked yet. So we're stoked to see what's going on there. But today the 2024-2025 captains were announced today. The primary captain is going to be Drake Glover for the season. And then your alternates for this year are going to be your two home alternates will be Ryan Romeo and then Carson Rose. And then the away alternates will be Taylor Brierley and then Troy McTavish. So stoked to see these guys get out there. And we will see them get out there this Friday as they will be taking on the Huntsville Havoc at home at Pelham Civic Center this Friday night. We're stoked to see them in action where it actually counts. But not only is this the home opener for the regular season, they are going to be honoring former captain from the 90s and early 2000s and the first head coach of the current rendition of the Birmingham Bulls, Jamie Hicks. They will be retiring his number 14 jersey, so it's going to be such a magical moment there for them. Stoked to see that. Make sure you're out there at Pelham Civic Center on Friday, this Friday at 7 o'clock. So as soon as we find out more about the final rosters, we will release that this week. We are so stoked for that and so stoked for the season to get started. Switching over to the Birmingham Stallions. We were going to cover the fan event that was going to be last Thursday. However, that wound up getting canceled and due to Coach Holtz having to take shelter from Hurricane Milton, which hit Central Florida last week, which was also hit by another hurricane just a couple weeks ago before. So our thoughts and prayers are out for those folks affected by these two hurricanes from the past month or so. So it's devastating for all up the Atlantic seaboard there. But we did learn about the home and away opponents for the 2025 season. For the home opponents, of course, we have the USFL Conference. We get those home and away. So it's going to be home. It's going to be Houston Roughnecks, Michigan Panthers, and the Memphis Showboats with their new coach. But our XFL home opponents will be the Arlington Renegades and the San Antonio Brahmas, which kind of expected considering last year. It's just opposite of what we had last year, where we actually went to Arlington and San Antonio. So, which that means that the away opponents, of course, are going to be Houston Roughnecks, Michigan Panthers, Memphis Showboats, the DC Defenders, and the St. Louis Battlehawks. So we're stoked for that. It was as soon as we find out anything more about the regular season schedule, we will let you guys know. But today, the UFL released their season tickets up for public purchase. So make sure you go and buy your season tickets. And if you're in the Birmingham area today, you can go get free donuts. They had a free donut promotion at Hero Donuts in the Birmingham area. I think the one by Railroad Park and the one in Trustful on Main Street there are the ones that are going to be doing that. So you can go and get your free donut thanks to the Birmingham Stallions. But in closing, we've got some big things coming up between all of our sports here and Shotgun Sports as well. But we are trying to hope and pray that the Legion get into the playoffs, but not looking too great right now. The Bulls start their regular season on Friday. The Squadron should be starting their camp pretty soon. I know there's still some stuff going on with the Pelicans organization trying to get those final rosters set before the NBA gets going there. And then the Stallions are still signing players. But as for now, that's all we've got for tonight. We will see you guys next week. And I will see you till next time. Good night.